Welcome back to Resonating Through Art. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to cast figures using 3 different methods for coloring: mica powder rub, dual color pouring, and pigment migration with alcohol inks. Also, I'll be revealing a piece of equipment that holds the secret to getting bubbleless casts. Let's get started. For these casts, I'm using the general purpose epoxy resin. This is because of the extra step that assures there won't be bubbles. When casting figures with a tabletop cure, and especially when doing deep or narrow molds, it is often best to use a deep cast resin. These cure in a longer window at a lower temp that resists flashovers and allows bubbles to escape. Always make sure your resin is suitable for your purpose. Now for the rub. Mica powder, I mean. This method allows for the most control on where the color goes. You can do any combo you fancy. I'm casting a 9-tailed fox figure and I want all of the tails to be different colors. Once you have your colors, you will need applicators. Cotton swabs will work, but I have found that makeup applicators are ideal for this, as it holds the powder well without making too much of a mess. To apply, dip the applicator into the mica powder to pick some up. Make sure there isn't a big glob that can fall off. Now gently rub the color into the section where you'd like it to be. Be careful in the process not to make a mess. The resin will pick up the powder and pull it from the mold surface. Yes, this mold has some staining. That's actually from doing the ink drop method. Once you have the first color, move on to the second, making sure to keep the sections neat. You also could use acrylic paint applied directly to the mold for a different look if you'd like. Personally, I like the softness of the mica powder. Keep applying the colors until content. Anything without the mica powder will show whatever you do with your resin. And I'll be having fun with mine. Holographic rainbow glitter. I've already mixed it up and added the special mica powder. Start the pour into the deepest part of the mold. Tip it slightly so that any area that might trap air releases the bubbles. This is critical for tabletop cures. Pour slowly in the center and let it fill up. Let it sit for a few minutes and use the alcohol spray to get rid of any bubbles. Next up, the dual color pour. I've already colored a small amount with black alcohol ink for the tail tips. Remember that gravity will do its work on the thin resin and it will flow out of any unburied region. This works in my favor for the nine-tailed mold. Using a pipette, I carefully deposit the colored resin into the top and let it flow down to the other tips. The colored resin is getting trapped in each of the pockets. Once you have your crevices filled, in this case I'm using the pumpkin orange mica powder for the body, you're ready to fill the mold. You can also use alcohol inks for a transparent body. I start in the head, just like the other, and tip it to make sure that the nose doesn't trap air. Once it almost overflows the head, I shift into the tail against the rear wall so it pushes the tail tip color against the edges. Every mold is different, but you usually want to control the fill color so it pushes the accents where you want them. Top it off and do the usual trick to banish the bubbles. Now these first ones you have control over the color. In pigment migration, that kind of goes out the window. The degree of control is less, but that's what makes these pieces truly unique. This works best in a wide, shallow mold. In this case, I want a rainbow. You can really use any color combo you like. I place a few drops of red ink in the head, then a few drops of orange further down in the neck, yellow is next. The green is where the tilt of the mold causes a slight issue, but I'm not too worried as the resin will spread things. Then the blue. And last, purple. As you can see, the dots are spread out. This will look far different than the homogeneous mixtures that you get when you stir the ink into the unpoured resin. Using clear resin, carefully and evenly run a slow stream through the dots. As it flows, it will spread the ink into ribbons. Going back and forth a bit will help to ensure that the colors spread equivalently. You may have to coax the resin into smaller features. The lizard's toes in this mold have a tendency to require attention. We want all those toes. See all the cool ribbons? There is no way to predict how these will form, but that's half the fun. Now that they are poured, you can benchtop cure if you want. Or remember that secret I promised to getting a bubble-free cast? Say hello to the pressure pot. This is a device built to be used with an air compressor. A word of warning, improperly used, this can explode, so please follow the directions. I built a shelving unit for mine to allow me to put more molds in one shot, but you can just put them on the bottom. Into the pot they go, all snug. Put the lid on, lining up the latches. Tighten the wing nuts by hand, making sure that they are secure. This vessel is about to get pressurized. But before we attach the hose, make sure the relief valve is closed and adjust the flow to minimal. Now the longer part. With the air compressor running, adjust the flow to have it gradually increase. You don't want to blast in all the air at once. Bring it slowly up to 40 psi or whatever your resin says. Just don't exceed the pressure pot's maximum. Once it's where you want it, close the intake valve and disconnect the air hose. The pressure will remain. Wait the full cure time. This is compressing the air in the resin so it's invisible to the eye. If you take it out when the resin is still pliable, the bubbles will re-expand. Drain the tank through the relief valve. Make sure it's completely drained before you touch the wing nuts, unless you really want the lid going airborne. Once the gauge hits 0, it's safe to open the wing nuts and release the latches. Pull out your beauties and get ready for the reveal. To unmold, carefully work your fingers to separate the silicone from the resin. Once you have it loose enough, it should pop free. Twinsies! Well, sort of. The lizard is the same way. Work it carefully until it comes free from the mold. Pretty cool looking, huh? Now for details. There are a couple things that work. Gel pens often work on resin to allow precise control for detailing. They also offer lots of colors. Just be aware they tend not to dry all the way. I have a secret to fix that. Just wait. Take care not to smear them before the final step. Acrylic paint can be used with some fine brushes. This is less precise, but it does dry fully and allows for some neat blending. However, it can be peeled off. That's where the last steps come in. Okay, they are cute, but kind of dull in finish. So let's make them shiny. Clear spray lacquer does the trick. Make sure to use in a well-ventilated area and wear a respirator. Spray a good coat over the full figure and let dry. Enjoy! Whether you do mica powder rubs, mixed dual colors, or alcohol ink pigment migrations, be bold and have fun savoring their uniqueness. I hope you'll join me for more Resin-ating through art. In the meantime, be sure to check out foxysartbox.com to catch up on all my blogs and check out some cool creations. Art on!